We begin with God's blessed name, and we wish peace for all who this recording reaches. My name is William Ismail, and next to me is my dear wife Anne or Amira. And we are making this recording from the western part of Sweden, from a city called Varberg. And together we are reaching out to people from around the world to support our struggle for truth and justice for our loving family. And it is a struggle for the most fundamental and sacred of all the human rights. The right for a child to be with its mother, and the right for a mother to be with her child. And to explain our case, we want to share a few things about ourselves and a few basic facts about human rights. And we pray that our message will reach people with truth and light in their hearts from all of mankind. Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, as well as others. And no matter what color, race, religion or other status that we have, we are essentially human beings. And we all have human rights granted to us by God and by international law. And these rights are not allowed to be taken away from us by anyone. They are for all of mankind, and we want to share the first two articles of the Human Rights Declaration.
All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and in rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood.
In Article 2 it says that everyone, all of mankind, is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind. And being born in Sweden, I want to say that we have a good foundation in Sweden, with a fair and just constitution which includes the human rights articles. But with ignorance in our present day society, people are being led to break this foundation in ignorance. But there is also others who choose to break it knowingly. And we want to make it clear that we respect governments and officials as long as they abide by the law and fulfills their duty to treat citizens respectfully. And if we forward criticism that is against abuse of power, injustice and oppression, and we then try to forward our criticism factual with respect that the foundation in our country is good. And my wife and I has been blessed with 4 loving children. Jibril, that is 8 years old, Jamil, that is 7 years old, Imran Ingvar, that is 5, and our beautiful daughter Isra, that is 2 years old. And we have been living together with them peacefully as a loving family for all of their lives.
Jag heter Jibril och jag är 7 år. Jag heter Imatan. Hej, jag heter Imatan och jag är 4 år. Jag heter Jamil och jag är 6 år. Den offentliga makten ska luta med respekt för alla människors lika värde och för den enskilde. Frihet och rättighet. Människor.
The 22nd of May this year, our family experienced a very sad day when all our children were taken away from us into forceful custody by the social services of our city with assistance of the police. And they did this to us and our family very wrongfully, in clear violation with our constitution and with several of the most basic human rights, without providing a single evidence of anything unlawful that we have done. which is true still today. And at the same time it is a factual truth that they themselves have broken the strongest laws of our country and of the world several times. And it was clear and sunny when they came to us, but as they drove away with our crying children, the sky started to cry with us, and these tears continued to pour down for several days. And we do not want to complain about our situation. There is many in the world who suffers more than us. But we hope that sharing our story may benefit our family as well as others. And we pray that it will help to expose the falsehood in our case and to bring out truth and justice. And we are a family who have been living peacefully and respectfully for all our children's life. And we respect all people and all faiths except conduct and faith which practice violence. And we hold a view of life and of religion which is based on peace, love and respect. And I would like to share a few things about myself and my journey through life. And before I do that, I leave to my wife to introduce herself first.
My name is Anne Soliman, and I'm 32 years old. I'm born in Egypt, but I grew up in Canada. And for the past 10 years I've lived here in Sweden with my husband and our dear children. When I was young, I had faith in my heart and kept close to prayer. But as I grew up in the West, I lived a more secular life. And after I had met my husband, and after seeking a more healthy lifestyle, I was led back to faith and prayer, alhamdulillah. And we have tried to invest as much time as we possibly can in our children. My children are my best friends, and I have been very close with them their whole lives and had given them all a full nursing period of 2 years each, and all the love that I could possibly give to them. What has happened to us here in Sweden is truly unfair, and I thank you all for your prayers, and I hope that with the help of your prayers and your support that our children will be back to us, inshallah. So thank you, and God bless you.
I want to say that I'm a human being with many shortcomings and that my knowledge is limited in most fields of life. And also that my English is not the best. So I am grateful for you who listens to have patience with me and to overlook with my shortcomings in character and speech. I'm 40 years of age and I'm born in Sweden to loving parents, Olof and Susanne, by a horse farm close to the sea with my siblings, younger siblings, Hanna and Jens. Ja, jag står här med min kära familj. Min far och min bror, min fru, min mor, min syster och min systers barn. And my father, he breeds trotting horses, and as I grew up I used to follow him around to the different racing tracks where I was introduced to gambling at the early stage of my life. And on these journeys my father and his friends, they also used to play poker and other games. And there was something in the world at that time called the poker boom. And internet made poker more accessible and acceptable than ever before. And when I was about the age of 16, I followed my father to a poker club in our hometown, and I became a successful player in a quite short time. And within a few years I was playing poker professionally. And within yet a few years I was contracted by the largest poker site in the world, PokerStars, which is a Jewish company that revolutionized poker with the help of some of the biggest sport stars in the world, marketing poker as a sport. And this lifestyle brought me on a journey around the world, and it opened up the doors of supreme comfort and ease, and the doors to all the honey of this life. And I was led to visit the strange city Las Vegas about 15 times, where I witnessed some crazy things. And even though I was living like in a dream, I always felt that there was something missing in my life, and that there was something wrong with this lifestyle. I could never find true peace in my spirit, and even when I won much, my soul always wanted more. And there was a famous artist who left the world at about this time, Michael Jackson. And he made a song that I used to love called The Man in the Mirror. And in this song there is a repeated part saying that if you want to make the world a better place, then take a look at yourself and make a change. And there was a call for change ringing in my heart almost every day. But for a long time I choose not to answer. But praise to God, about 12 years ago I answered the call to start making important changes in my life. And within a few years I was able to quit poker, alcohol and other unhealthy things, seeking for a healthy and humble lifestyle. And it was at this time that I met with my wife, and after exchanging a few words I realized that she had more than beauty. And I told her that I was on a journey towards the mountaintops of the world. And perhaps she was my companion or even my wife in this quest. And I invited her to come visit me in Sweden, which she came to accept. And from Sweden we continued to travel the world for another year or two. And we decided to get married. And we started to spend much of our time reading and studying about health and faith. And we made a decision to leave the city life, to relocate ourselves towards the countryside and close to the nature, where we started to seek for the best and purest food we can find to provide ourselves and our family. And within a short time God blessed us with 4 loving children. And being a father is the greatest feeling I have ever experienced, and realizing how dangerous the modern world actually is behind the glamour and deception, and how big of a responsibility it is being parents. We decided to do the best we can to keep our family close and united. And seeking a lifestyle based on faith and nature is not the norm in modern Sweden. And seeking for natural solutions for health and healthcare rather than the more synthetic and unnatural ways promoted by the state, we came to learn that there are forces in and around society who actively works to hinder people from choosing such a lifestyle. And as we were seeking for purification and for truth in life, we found the time and the peace to visit the Holy Scriptures, the Bible, the Quran, and other books of faith. And the more we kept seeking, the more answers we found. And it got clear to us that we wanted to live our life based on faith and prayer. And we came to learn that all the major faiths and religions in the world were carrying truth and light in their teachings. And when I finally choose to investigate what the teachings of Islam actually says, I was truly amazed, and I discovered that the uncorrupted truth was preserved in the world, in its teachings. And seeking for truth from different locations, it also made it clear to us that there is a common mistake in the world, where people from all faiths consider themselves and their community to be the only ones on true guidance, and their faith to be the only true faith. And with hope for blessings, with a spirit of respect, we want to share a reminding verse which brings hope for all who believes in God, no matter what faith we belong to. And the verse is from chapter 2 of the Quran, called Al-Baqarah. And I leave over to my wife to recite it in the Arabic language, and I will then try to explain it in English.
إن الذين آمنوا والذين هادوا والنصارى والصابئين من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وعمل صالحا فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون.
In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Those who believe in this Quran, and those who follow the Jewish scriptures, and the Christians, and the Sabians, all who believe in God and the last day, and lives a righteous way of life, surely their reward is with their Lord. No fear shall come upon them, nor shall they grieve. And to assist this verse, I want to share a part of Article 26 of the Human Rights Declaration, which is in regards to education and faith. And it states that education shall promote tolerance, understanding and friendship among all nations, and among all racial and religious groups. And it is therefore a duty due to human rights for all truthful schools and medias and for all truthful human beings to partake in sharing and spreading good and fair knowledge about all the faiths of the world, respectfully and factually. And sharing useful knowledge is a good deed that lives on in the world after we leave it one day. like a tree that produces fruit after we have planted it. And we want to use our voice and this opportunity to share a reminder with people from all faiths and from all parts of the world that with faith that we came into this world by design and from a world of life which everything in the universe bears witness to. Our lives get full of hope, and every deed that we do gets true meaning. And there is a saying that ignorance is a servant of evil. And with ignorance our family was broken up in an unforgettable way by forces who took our loving children away, not just from their parents, but from all their relatives, all their friends, and even from each other, where they have been living isolated from us for more than 5 months. And in regards to this ignorance, we want to highlight a main constitutional order in our country, which proclaims that all the public power of our country shall be executed with respect for the equal value of all people and for the freedom and dignity of every individual. An incomplete violation of these orders, 2 young caseworkers went into our family's innermost private life and started accusing us for several things just by claiming that there was not enough information and insight in our lives, which, true or not, is something that they do not even have the right to demand from people, since everyone is protected the right to privacy by our constitution and by human rights. And even if they had such a right, there is still no right anywhere in the world for human beings to lie, accuse, or to slander people. And we tried to explain this to them, and we demanded to get our human rights provided to us. But they denied us this, and they accused us for not cooperating and for neglecting our children's health and our children's education. Without knowing us and without providing a single evidence for their accusations. And that when the truth in these matters are that our children have been very healthy, strong and well developed during all of their lives. Praise be to God, which is something that everyone who knows our children will testify to. Our dear boys, Jibril and Jamil, they could write and read and count at a high level already at the age of 6. And all our children have been blessed to develop natural skills such as fishing, cutting woods, farming and agriculture. And they are all very kind human beings who loves to help and to share. And they love each other and their mother very much. And also their father. these caseworkers, they managed to push these false accusations, as well as others, to and through the social committee of our city. And even though this committee has a constitutional duty to ensure that the investigation are factual and impartial, and in harmony with dignity and respect, they allowed these false accusations, including several slanders, to be passed on into a type of a secret court, with an urgent claim to take all our children away from us. And these accusations were then approved, still without a single evidence of anything unlawful that we have done, in clear violation of the Constitution and of several of the most basic human rights. Our beautiful daughter Isra, which is 2 years, she was still breastfeeding when she was pulled out of the hands of her mother by 2 police officers and a social worker, due to matters of an uncompleted registration from being born in our home, which was the most magical night in our lives. And even though we had tried to fulfill this registration. And with this false picture that they made up of us, we are still to this day being treated like criminals, or even worse. And for over 5 months we have not been allowed to meet or even to speak with our children, if we do not accept to do this under close surveillance and supervision, and in a closed environment, to then having to leave them again. And we have not accepted such humiliating terms, since we believe them to be very harmful, both to our children and to ourselves. And our case was broadcasted all around our country for a period of time by a media who dedicated themselves to spread the picture that the case managers had made up of us. And we stayed patient during these times. And whilst we were waiting for the storm to still, we chose to write letters to our children, and to try to meet with them in our hearts and in our dreams. And with God's kindness, some of the falsehood that they surrounded us with has now faded away. And just recently we forwarded an open speech to the social services and the social committee of our city, where we explain our case in a factual and respectful way, together with a offer for a peaceful solution. And we have made this speech public, and we have posted it on our YouTube channel called JS space TN, JSTN. And it has the title Öppen talan, or Open Speech. And we will add a reference to this at the end of this recording. The speech is in the Swedish language, but we have added subtitles to it. And we are truly grateful for people who are willing to take from their time to witness our speech, and to witness how our case continues. It is around 1 hour long, and it's made up of different parts. We speak about the foundation of our society. We speak about the fundamental rights of a child. And we make a presentation of ourselves and our children's closest family members, as well as a presentation of our case and how the case managers have used their power. And we respect that time is dear, and we cannot expect everyone to listen to all of it. But those who choose to listen becomes very important witnesses for truth and justice in our case. And we pray that God blesses all who do so. And all we have asked to forgive and overlook the injustice in our case and the injustice made to our family is that they write off the false charges and returns our children to us during this month of November. And we believe this to be very fair on our behalf. And if they accept it, we ensure to not press charges against anyone in this case. But if they choose not to return our children, we consider such an action to be another serious offense against our family. And we are then looking to do all what we can to call those responsible into free, fair and public courts, where truth and justice can be witnessed clearly and openly. And we are seeking help, support and prayers from people around the world who feel a connection with our case and with our family. And we do not ask anyone to take our side blindly. What we ask is that you be truthful witnesses for truth and justice in our case, wherever it appears. And we want to clarify that we do not want any slander or foul language to be directed to our government or our country or to anyone else. The foundation of our country is good, as we mentioned, and by being forgiving with an intention to solve things respectfully, we hope that good things may spring out of our case, both for us and our family as well as for others. And to now conclude, we want to say that the best help that anyone can offer us and our family are prayer for our children's health and well-being. And second to that, the best help is to forward factual reports and comments about our case in a polite language. And thirdly, we hope that people may be inspired to help us with good juridical advice and knowledge. And depending on how our case develops or continues to develop, people who want may also help with some of the expenses in our case. And as we mentioned, you will find our speech at our YouTube channel JSTN, JS space TN. And you may contact us at amatASW@gmail.com. amatASW@gmail.com. So we are truly grateful to all who help us to share our story, and we hope to make more updates in the English language soon again. So may God bless all of you and your families, and thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.